William Ruto is a very shrewd politician. And William Ruto is also a very smart politician, both in strategy and tact. William Ruto has recruited former allies of Mwai Kibaki and Raila Odinga into his team. This new team is supposed to draft the hustler economic strategy. So today I want us to look at this team and why the deputy president has gone for former allies of Mwai Kibaki and Raila Odinga. But for us to understand this team, before we get into that team, we need to understand William Ruto's strategy, especially after the last election. Anybody who has been following William Ruto's politics will agree that Ruto has a clear strategy on where he's coming from and where he is headed to. And he's been applying clear strategy at each and every given stage. Let me begin. The first strategy which Ruto used after the last election was to try and retain his stronghold. William Ruto has two strongholds. That is central Kenya and the larger Kalenjin nation. Up to now, William Ruto has successfully managed to hold the grip of those two voting blocks. Very few people can do what Ruto has done. So that was his first strategy. The second strategy he used is the church. And let me just put it this way. William Ruto manipulated the church for two reasons. Number one, the church provided William Ruto with a platform to campaign. So Ruto would go to Meru in the name of a church, fundraise there, and play politics. And that's why church leaders from Rift Valley were asking when he will start contributing money to the Harambes. So the church provided Ruto with a platform to address Kenyans when the campaigns were still very far. Number two, the church also provided William Ruto with an opportunity to reduce criticism. If you've been following the church in Kenya for a long time, they've always fought for good governance, they've always fought against corruption, and they've always fought against the ills facing the country. The truth of the matter is that William Ruto entered into the church and the church stopped all this. Then number three, the next stage was the hustler nation narrative. William Ruto wanted to achieve just one thing with the hustler nation narrative. He wanted to appeal to the rest of the country. Kenyan politics is tribal. So William Ruto had the support of the Kikuyus, he had the support of the Kalenjins. But he wanted a way of getting the support of the rest of the country. So what a better way of lumping them up as hustlers. So today in this country, we have William Ruto and his hustler nation cutting across the nation. Then his fourth strategy was simple: oppose the Building Bridges Initiative process, because the Building Bridges Initiative process was being pushed by President Uhuru Kenyatta and was being pushed by Raila Odinga. But again, that Building Bridges Initiative process was not very popular with the Kenyans. So William Ruto embarked on a journey of opposing it. So up to now, William Ruto has successfully dissociated himself from the Building Bridges Initiative process. And now William Ruto is on another stage, the stage of professionals. William Ruto is working very closely with professionals from all sectors. Yesterday, he met with the artist. And from that artist, he even appointed a team which is going to report back to him. And he chose a lady who is a graduate to work with the other artist. So that's how William Ruto is very shrewd. And again, if you follow him very closely, you realize that currently he's working with the professionals. So William Ruto appointed a team to help him craft his economic strategy for the hustler narrative. Now, this group include, number one, there is Professor Njuguna Ndung'u, and I did a video about his meeting with Professor Njuguna Ndung'u. Njuguna Ndung'u is a former Central Bank of Kenya governor who worked very closely with the former president Daniel Toroitich. I mean, with the former president Mwai Kibaki. And I was asking someone why Ruto would choose Njuguna Ndung'u, and this guy told me that Njuguna Ndung'u, during his time, he was not a very straight guy, but very thorough. So that's the first guy. Number two, he has also appointed David Ndii to help him craft this hustler economic strategy. We all know that David Ndii worked very closely with Raila Odinga in the last election. David Ndii is a top economist, not only in Kenya, but in the entire Africa. And I think, according to Economist ranking, David Ndii could be number 3 or 4, somewhere there. So David Ndii has been roped into that camp. And there's one thing I always tell people, that when David Ndii was economic advisor to Raila Odinga, Raila Odinga used to issue statements which were well thought out, which were pro-people, and Kenyans really used to love the way Raila Odinga was dealing with Jubilee Party in terms of economy. And then in that team, there is also Professor Larry Gumbe. Professor Larry Gumbe was the former Secretary General of LDP. He's been a very close ally of Raila Odinga, advisor to Raila Odinga. So Professor Larry Gumbe has been roped into that team. Let us wait and see how this is going to pan out. And by the way, I'm going to call Professor Larry Gumbe to understand his side of the story on this particular matter. And then there is also Dr. Jason Kirwok, an acclaimed author and a former director, strategy and planning at Kenya Airways. And then there is also Professor Rafael Manuvu. So all these guys are professionals with distinguished characters, people who Kenyans can actually look up to. But why do you think William Ruto is reaching out to these professionals to help him do this economic strategy? In my considered opinion, he's doing this because of 4 reasons. Number one, William Ruto is keen on breaking away from Uhuru Kenyatta. If there's one problem, if there's one challenge which Kenyans are facing with President Uhuru Kenyatta, is the challenge of the economy. The economy has collapsed under the Jubilee government. In the first time of Jubilee government, the government overborrowed. And because of that overborrowing, we are still facing a problem in this country up to now. So Ruto is breaking away from this. He's bringing in Professor Njuguna Ndung'u to lead a team, a guy who is known or associated with Mwai Kibaki. He's bringing on board Larry Gumbe, a guy who is known to be an advisor to Raila Odinga. He's bringing on board David Ndii, a guy who cannot even share a table with President Uhuru Kenyatta. So William Ruto, in my considered opinion, is trying to break away. Number two, I think William Ruto is also keen to demonstrate to Kenyans his seriousness about economic revival of the country. There is no way, because one thing is, it's difficult for Ruto to run away from Jubilee government. Very difficult. But by coming up with this team, and this team in the near future, my suspicion is that they will start discussing and talking about the hustler narrative. They'll start coming out to explain to Kenyans, basically a kind of a shadow government, where they'll be challenging government policies. So if Uhuru will be coming up with a policy, my suspicion is that this team which Ruto has crafted will be issuing statement from the hustlers mansion, challenging some of those policies. So Kenyans will be swayed or will be persuaded to start believing William Ruto. Kenyans will start taking William Ruto and his hustler nation narrative seriously. So basically, he wants to show Kenyans that he's serious about the economic revival of the country. Number three, I think William Ruto is also keen on breaking down the hustler nation narrative. If there's one question Kenyans have been asking William Ruto, is how the hustler narrative is going to work. He's talking of bottoms-up approach. He's talking of getting money from government and giving to Mama Mboga. He's talking of the ordinary border guy. So the question has been policy. How are you going to do it? Because talking is different from doing. So this team is going to help Ruto break down this hustler narrative to Kenyans. So for example, the border. How is he going to revive border to make sure that they survive the economy? Because the Kenyans have been asking questions whether even border is a good strategy. Because today, if you go to hospitals, district hospitals, casualties is full of border. These guys have been maimed. Most of them are having breathing problems. Border guys are, some of them cannot even give birth. They can't rise to the occasion. Those are the realities. So some of them are graduates. The question Kenyans have been asking, why should a graduate be given a wheelbarrow? So this team is going to break down why a graduate should be given a wheelbarrow to change his life. Number 4, which is my last point, I think the Deputy President is also keen on appealing to the professionals. The truth of the matter is that for a long time, Kenya were asking whether anybody knows anybody somewhere who knows William Ruto advisor. In fact, someone was telling me that William Ruto, because he doesn't drink, was the main advisor to William Samoei Ruto. Ruto was advising himself. So for the first time, we are seeing professionals dealing with the issues of economy. I'm certain that we are going to have other professionals dealing with agriculture, other professionals dealing with the, say, healthcare sector, because health is also a big issue in this country, to start explaining to Kenyans how they are going to deal with the health care situation in the country. I don't know what to think, but in my conclusion, I think William Ruto is smart. His latest moves is actually catching President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga flat-footed. Let me hear your thoughts. Do you think this team is going to help William Samoei Ruto break down the hustler nation economic strategy? Let me hear your thoughts on this particular matter. Thank you guys, and please, may you have a good day.